Beautiful rising. Happy new day. This is the day that we have made as a collective consciousness. So we must be glad and rejoice in it. I am grateful for this now moment. There is a lot that is going on. All right, there's a lot that's going on. But let me put this here. But I just wanted to give my perspective on some of the things that is going on to give you an example of what expansion of consciousness look like and infinite possibilities, right? Infinite possibilities and what expansion of consciousness looks like, okay? And these are just examples because I'm coming to the realization under under the vibration of infinite possibilities, right? So when you become to understand that there are infinite possibilities, you begin to understand how things begin to materialize, okay, as a result of what we want at certain vibrational densities as a collective consciousness, right? So before I get started, I just want to let you guys know that I am equally live on YouTube right now as well as Instagram, and I'm grateful to be able to have the ability to do both simultaneously at the same time. So I am also on YouTube as well as Instagram, right? In this now moment. So gratitude for you guys' presence, those who are here. And I'm using this once again, this title, as an example of what the expansion of consciousness looks like in terms of what we put out there as a collective consciousness into the universe, right? And what the universe does to kind of somewhat answer to what we are saying energetically um, in the universe, right? Now, of course, this is going to be understood from multiple levels of consciousness. Everybody's going to have their own clarification where this is concerned in terms of how they understand it. But nevertheless, regardless of how it's understood, there is an expansion of consciousness that is showing itself, that has always shown itself. But I just wanted to use this. What's up, Mr. Thomas? How you doing over here on the YouTube side? Gratitude for your presence. I'm grateful. Hercules. Thank you for being here. I just want to show you what expansion of consciousness looks like, right? Which happens all the time, but this is really, really a little bit more profound in the now moment to show how the universe still constantly expands. And this subject matter is going to, or this expansion of what has materialized is going to, of course, be expressed from many different levels of consciousness. So you're going to have many people that have different opinions about it, depending on where they are vibrating from in their level of consciousness. But these are some of the things that what we manifest in terms of how the expansion of consciousness actually, what it looks like, right? Just to show you what it looks like. Okay. So this, the universe expanding, right? Let me put it up. Let me do this thing here. Okay. So I pinned the comment here. It says, universe expanding, expansion of consciousness, lab-grown meat to reduce the slaughter of animals, right? It is about the density of the expression of the energy, vibration, and frequency. So how we are expressing in this density has basically brought this, to fruition, right? Now we know that there is some ecological changes in the vibration that is commencing in this now moment. We are beginning to see the transformation of how we are energetically feeling, right? And so therefore, as a result of this transformation in terms of us transmuting the energies, they're trying to keep up the experiences are trying to keep up with how the energy is transmuting. So it is almost like the experience is communicating with the energy is communicating with the experiences. So as we, evolve in our level of consciousness, we are energetically putting out what it is that we truly want to experience. And because we are vibrating at a different vibration, so this is the way that the energy is serving itself. This is my clarity. Let me put my disclaimer out there. This is my clarity. This is my understanding of the process, right? This is how I'm understanding it. Okay. But nevertheless, right? Nevertheless, I know that it's going to be understood at various levels of consciousness, and everybody is going to interpret that process the way that they want to interpret the process, right? That's just the way that it goes. But I want to show you how the expansion of consciousness actually takes shape and form based on based on how we as a collective is actually moving, right, in terms of our energies and different things of that nature. Okay. So right now, they are now bringing in, everybody knows that they are bringing in this meat, right? This lab grown meat that is in the essence of being produced, right? And what that has to do, Supreme Rising, gratitude for your presence. Thank you for being here. And what that has to do with this essence of what it is the response from an energetic perspective of our evolution, energetic frequency, vibrational frequency at an evolution. So the process, and this is to really show you the density of the expression of the energy to have to kill to consume, right? So because vibrationally we are now shifting energetically, right? So therefore this is somewhat of a elevated shift in essence, in order to still somewhat push the essence of eating meat. So you might say, why is it, if we are evolving energetically, right? If we are evolving out, we're vibrating out of wanting to consume meat, right? Eventually, it's going to be that, because many of us are already shifting and we no longer want to eat meat. When they begin to propagate veganism, right, in terms of all of this stuff, PETA and everything, this shift has long before started to commence before now, right? But now we're getting into the meat and the potatoes of this shift energetically and vibrationally. So we are vibrating out of naturally wanting to consume meat, right? So they are ahead of the curve. The energy that is in the manifestation aspect of it is ahead of the curve, because the energy and the experience, they work hand in hand, right? They communicate with each other energetically. So now as we are beginning to vibrate out of the essence of wanting to consume death, right? It is now in itself evolving and expanding the experience of still consuming meat without having to consume the vibration of death, because we are vibrating out of that essence of expression, right? So now this is where the expansion of consciousness, okay, where am I getting all of these people that I don't know? so now I got all the bots coming in. And that's really weird. Okay. But we are expanding, the level of we are expanding in the essence vibrationally. Okay, so now I'm paused. Instagram paused the live on me, right? So now we are expanding, right, in vibration out of the essence of consuming the vibrational essence of death, right? We are actually now vibrating out of that. So in the essence of the communication, and this is what expansion of consciousness looks like. This is what infinite possibilities look like, and people are going to understand this energetic anomaly from different levels of consciousness, right? So you're gonna have some people that you're just going to be like, oh my God, what is this? This is disgusting. I don't agree with this, and all this other kind of stuff. So you're going to have, as we embark into this essence of the expansion, right, in terms of this new experience that they're propagating for people to still have the experience of eating meat, right? But you got to ask yourself, why? Unity, gratitude for your presence. Thank you for being here. Yours truly. Gratitude for your presence. You have to begin to understand why it is still somewhat here in order for us to still want to consume meat. Okay. The thing about it is, what we have to realize, that it wasn't necessarily about the consumption of meat. You have been conditioned in that way to believe that it's about the meat, it's about the taste, it's about the experience of eating death or what have you. But now we are beginning with this transition. It's about the vibration, it's about the density, right? So because we're vibrating out of death, we're slowly but surely vibrating out of the experience of death, right? And with everybody still evolving, saying that they don't want to, people don't want to eat meat. They eat it out of habit. They eat it out of epigenetics, because through lineage and generations after generations, the cellular memory through our genetics is allowing us to be able to want to crave and consume meat. But there's a deeper aspect within us, many of us, that don't want to do it, and we're doing it out of habit, and we're doing it out of cellular memory or lineage, right? So that's why we're consuming. But there's a deeper side of us that is also being communicated, that we don't really want to eat meat. We're just doing it because, that's what we've been taught to do. That's a part of our heritage. That's a part of our culture. So many different things. But there's an internal value within many of us that is vibrating out of the essence of eating meat. So this is the response to these energies, to these frequencies, or these conversations that you have with yourself eternally. It's still emitting a vibrational essence of expression, right? It's still sending out signals, to the universe. So the expansion of consciousness, right? Conditioned to think we need it for proper nutrition, right? It's never been about nutritional value. And so therefore but we were told that it was, because we was in a dense energy. We were under what they're calling the veil, forgetfulness. So we were having a total experience of not really knowing ourselves, because we wanted to experience self outside of self, right? So that was the experience, right? The experience or the experiment, whichever one you want to look at. That was the experiencing self outside of self. So we were doing so many, the expansion of consciousness was experiencing itself in so many variations of experiences, or the all was experiencing itself outside of itself, and all that came with that experience. And that was to include vibrating at a vibration where we consumed death. We consumed it, right? Which is a consumption of a dense vibrational energy, right? We integrated with a dense vibrational energy. So now that we are vibrating out of the density, remember, we're vibrating out of the density. Okay, so as a result of us vibrating out of the density, this is now the response to us vibrating out of the density, right? Because everybody is like, oh, I'm going vegan, I'm going vegetarian. And at first they tried to move it at the essence of the plant-based, because they didn't know how we were going to vibrate out of the density of wanting to consume meat. Because there's the thing of it is that you may still be consuming meat, right? But there's an internal beacon that is within you that is vibrating us out of the vibration of consuming meat, right? So you may still do that on your everyday routine, because like I said, through lineage, through culture, through habitual practices, it's still there. The body is still responding, to the essence of, how we have normalized this process. Oh, thank you, Mama. I don't know. Gratitude. I can't even see. Is that a Miss Me So Blessed? I'm grateful. Thank you, and welcome to this live. I'm grateful to have you here, right? So when we begin to understand the vibrational essence of how this actually commences itself, in terms of what expansion of, and this is a plethora of things. I don't want you to guys to think that this is just about the meat thing. There's a plethora of things that denotes the expansion of consciousness, but this is just something that is really, really profound, because then you begin to understand all of the pre-narratives that we had in terms of eating meat and different things of that nature. Oh, you need your protein, you need this, you need that, and everything like that, and how you're going to get your protein. So here you have something, right? That is being created in a lab. That is being created in a lab. This is no new revelation, because we're still eating food that has been created in a lab. So that is no new revelation. So we're already in the practice of consuming things that was created in the lab, that has made it on the market, because it looks the same, it smells the same, it moves the same, but its genetical properties in terms of how it's cultivated, right, is not from an organic state of cultivation, right? So we're already eating from the lab. We're already drinking the Kool-Aid, right? We're already using artificial flavors. We're already doing all of these things. So this is no different from what has already been introduced to us, right? A lot of people are going to look at it from a surface from a more physical level and say, okay, is this, sound? Is this right? And I'm here to kind of throw that theory out of the box, is that because you are vegan or vegetarian doesn't mean that you're not already eating something that has been generated in the lab. Your fruits and vegetables may have been generated in a lab. The seed of itself, of that particular fruit and vegetable, may have been already generated in a lab, and it's probably in mass consumption or mass production. Even if you're planting your own fruits and vegetables, because you have to realize that, where are you getting your seeds? All right. How did you see a wild growing, what they call it? Bell pepper in the field somewhere, untouched, very well preserved, nobody is out there, and you pick that wild grown tomato, or that wild grown a bell pepper or whatever? Did you pick that yourself and say, okay, this is the likelihood of it possibly being more organic than me taking some seeds in a packet, buying from Home Depot, or buying from a nursery, or buying from somewhere? Because anything that you are purchasing now has the potential of more than likely being genetically modified. Okay. Anything that you buy now has the potential of it being genetically modified. Okay. If it's not growing somewhere up in the Himalaya mountains where you got to climb 10,000 feet with fingers and a pitchfork or whatever the case may, everything has been contaminated. Well, I call it contaminated, but everything has been genetically modified, right? But the genetical modification is coming through the essence of everything, the expansion of consciousness and the vibration of how we are vibrating as a result of our expansion of consciousness and where we are vibrating at. So it's keeping up with itself. So when we vibrate, you have an expression, you have an experience. So the experience is keeping up with the energy. The experience is keeping up with the vibration. The experience is keeping up with the frequencies. So this is why I want people to begin to understand this from a metaphysical perspective, because I know a lot of people are going to understand it from a surface level perspective, a physical perspective, and that's a part of the experience too, right? That's the thing, that all of that is a part of the experience. How everybody interprets this whole, situation is a part of the experience, because that is what creates the movie. That is what creates the experience to be as vast and to have options of the many different variations of expressions that is within that experience. That's just like you going to Disney World and it has 21 attractions or 41 attractions. It's an experience that has a multitude of attractions in each experience, same difference. Right. So that's why we have many different versions, a level of consciousness, because in that experience of eating this lab meat or whatever the case may be, you're going to be able to go to all of those experiences of your choosing in that vibrational vortex that is supporting this experience. When you begin to understand things from a metaphysical level, you just I know I may not make sense to some of y'all, but it makes complete sense to me. So if you guys don't understand what it is that I'm saying, just let me know, and I'll try to do my best to kind of give a different analogy that makes more sense for it to be palatable, to be understood. Okay. But I want people to begin to understand that this is just an experience. It's an experience because of the evolution of what we're going through energetically. It's apparent that we've loosened less dense. Right. We are becoming less dense, and we're migrating out of the density of consuming death. The vibration, right? Because the vibration of death is very, very dense. It's very stagnant. It's very dense. Okay. And so therefore, because we are evolving energetically, now there are new experiences, because remember, as I said, and I'm talking to YouTube. I got YouTube and Instagram going on at the same time, you guys. So I have a comment over here on YouTube. So we are we are evolving out of the density, right? So therefore, the experiences has to energetically keep up with how we are vibrating. Right. So now that we know, they know at some capacity, at some point in the evolution of this expansion of consciousness and how we're vibrating, we're no longer going to want to consume death, because it's going to fade into black. Right. And they are seeing the transformation of that. And many people right now, because they could tell meat is not being bought. I'm not buying meat, right? So there are measurements, at this density, you're able to measure, right? You're able to measure by consumption. And I'm sure that they're seeing a drastic decline, even though people are still eating meat. They're not eating meat at the rate that we were eating meat maybe in the 70s or the 60s or the 80s or whatever the case. There has been a significant decline in the purchasing of meat. Okay. So that's a sign in itself of the vibrational shift, because that's a vibrational thing. And even if you steal meat, you're not going to, you may go to the grocery store and you may not pick up no meat on that run. You know what I'm saying? Whereas before, if we went to the grocery store, we was picking up a pack of bologna, we was picking up a pack of chicken, we was picking up a pack of this. It was some level of consumption of meat that was being consistently purchased in our grocery bill all the time. Right. And so now, because that is naturally going on a decline, right? It is energetically showing a shift, right? An energetic shift it's showing. Okay. I'm trying to, so that we can see our reality, what that looks like energetically. That's all that I'm doing, so that we can begin to see ourselves as to how we are actually being measured in terms of what's going on. So when they begin to notice that there had with the comparison rate of the decline, because all of these social going out there consumption and buying, these are measurements to measure energy, right? How our energy is being facilitated, acclimated. All of these things allows a measurement to come. What's up, Sincere? How you doing? Supreme Beautiful Rising. Gratitude for your presence. I'm grateful that you guys are here. Thank you for being here. And thank you for everyone that's being here. Hey, Mary. Hey, Mama. How you doing, sweetheart? Gratitude for your presence. I am glad that you are here. So the consumption and us buying things, us not buying things, how we move and everything, even though from a physical standpoint, they measure it to say, okay, what we're buying, what we're doing and this and that or whatever. Thank you. Gratitude. I'm grateful. Thank you. It shows what we're consuming, but it also shows how our energy is shifting. So there's a metaphysical component or an esoteric component that it also communicates about the realm and how we as a collective are moving energetically. But we only understand it from the physical communicational factor of how we're moving. But we are being watched and measured on an energetic level, a vibrational level, and a frequency level as well. And these very things that we constantly do on a daily, what we do and what we don't do, tells it sends a message of where we are at and our level of consciousness, and how we are facilitating our energy, what our energy look like from an esoteric perspective. Okay, so there's a couple of communications that are going on, a couple of languages that are going on with us at the same time. This is where all of this shit is happening all at the same time. Everything is happening all at the same time, right? And I hope I didn't get you guys off track with what I just said there. But like I said, the gist of me using this analogy about the lab grown meat is to show the shift in consciousness. It's to show the vibrational shift, right? Yeah, dead weight is very dense. Absolutely, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Thomas said over here on YouTube, dead weight is super heavy. Actually, yes, it is, right? It's very dense. Okay. And so therefore I want to show you the shift in consciousness with just this little thing, because this thing is very profound, right? This lab grown meat thing is very profound, but it's an answer. It's an answer to a shift. It's an answer to a shift in vibrational frequencies. And there's going to be a plethora of many level of consciousness to understand, overstand what is transpiring. But what it says energetically, that because they are growing this in a lab, we are shifting out of the density of consumption of death. We're no longer consuming the vibration of death. We're no longer experiencing death by consumption, because there's many variances of ways to experience death. You experience death through eating meat, right? The energetic density of death. We experience death every day, right? We just have not experienced a physical death of ourselves, but we experience the death experience. It's not just by dying alone, right? The death experience, that is the physical for your own personal, that's the physical experience of the experience of death. But there's a plethora of experiences that comes with the death experience, and consuming meat was one of them. Right? Supreme beautiful rising for everybody that is here. Gratitude for you guys' presence. Let me do a quick roll call for everybody that's here. We got beautiful Golden Sugar that's here. We got the beautiful I Am Carissa that's here. We got my friend Bo, the bottom line, that's here. We got the beautiful Yours Truly, Kier, is here. We got the beautiful Midnight Ma'at is here. We got the Nameless Stars that is here. Gratitude for your presence. We got the beautiful Miss Me So Blessed that is also here. Gratitude for your presence. We got the Abdul, I know I chopped and screwed that up, but Abdul, gratitude for your presence. We got Mr. Banks 79334 that is here. Gratitude for your presence. We got the beautiful Mary that is here, sis. Gratitude for your presence. And we got the beautiful Rinkash Yadev 33. Gratitude for your presence. And then we got the ever so handsome Mr. Sincere 80 baby. Can't stand a hater. That name, bro, that name. But welcome. Gratitude for your presence. I am grateful that you guys are all here. Gratitude. And Mr. Sticks Diary, I don't know if you're still here, but I didn't see you in the list. But gratitude for your presence and everybody that is here. I am grateful. And over on the YouTube side, I got my ace boon cool in the hole that's always holding the fort down. We got Mr. Thomas, aka Mr. Over It, over here on this side. Oh, Carissa. Okay, Carissa. Yes. I got my two strongest algorithmists over here on YouTube as usual. I am grateful. Gratitude for you guys' presence that is over here on the other side of YouTube. I am grateful. All right. So we got all of these beautiful souls that are here in the essence of us, speaking about these transitional things that are taking place. As I said, I'm a very mild person in terms of, what I'm an energy person. That's my language. I may not speak light language. Yeah, I see you. It wasn't. Thank you for being here. I'm grateful. Right? So I just wanted to use this analogy to show the shift, right? To show what the vibrational shifts look like, for us to begin to understand our experiences from an esoteric or metaphysical perspective, because we understand our everyday walk in the physical, right? We understand the physical experience, and that's fine, because that's what we were here. The veil, in what they call the veil. It was designed for us to have the full grasp of the physical experience in all essence of how it was created to be expressed. And we were in the essence of the creation of it. So everything that we experienced, we created in terms of how we wanted to express the value of our energy, vibration, and frequency at the density of the expression. So many of these things that we've experienced was allowed because at a soul level, at a vibrational level, we wanted to have those experiences, right? It's about taking ownership, responsibility, for your waking experience. Ain't nobody doing nothing to you. What is being done is being done by you, for the essence of having the experience. And I know, when, we begin to move into this genre of energetic expression, a lot of people still want to move in victim consciousness and thinking that somebody's doing. I remember back in, every time, YouTube did something or Instagram did something or whatever the case may be, oh, they didn't want us to talk about this, or they didn't want this, or they didn't want that. So in essence, what we were doing, without really knowing that what we were doing, we were giving permission for the experience to commence, right? But when we begin to say, what I begin to say, okay, they ain't doing nothing to me, whatever is happening is for me, that's a shift. Because now I'm moving in the path of least resistance, because I understand that the vibration and the energy has the right to be expressed, because it was us at some capacity of a collective that created the energetic vortex for the experience to commence. Right? Because we're all interconnected. And I know that a lot of us don't see ourselves in that regard, but down to the birds, the bees, the animals, and the trees, everything, we are interconnected. Inner outer body experience, interesting while doing research. Okay, what you mean, Mr. Sincere? You lost me. You lost me. Are you saying this is what you're doing for yourself? Because, for me is the understanding of me and how I move, because I am a big contributor. You are a big contributor, right? We all are a big contributor to the essence of the consciousness. Us coming to a vibrational sense without being said, right? Us in a vibrational sense without it being said, we're vibrating out of the consumption of meat. Right? So because we're vibrating out of the consumption of meat, now they're all that shit about is you have to eat meat. It's what they say, it's a protein and this and that or whatever. All that shit. Okay, here go the man in the van. I ain't see him get out the car. All that shit about you have to have meat. Okay, all that shit going out the window, right? Because now here they are creating a lab grown meat from stem cells. Okay, right? Cloning. It's just another word for cloning. So now we're moving in the essence of cloning. Okay, we're eating cloned meat from stem cells. Like I say, stem cells was them hitting the lotto. That was just like them hitting a multi-billion-dollar lottery jackpot when they start expressing with stem cells, because stem cells allows for the vibrational essence to commence from a physicality, right? It gives you all of the physical. It gives you all of the codes to maintain a vibrational elevation while still holding on to some level of density. Okay, that's a whole nother live, right? But just follow me. So the stem cells is now allowing all of these things to commence. The meat display in the groceries are getting smaller and smaller. Right, because we're vibrating out of it. Yes, we're vibrating out of it. Gorillas are some of the strongest animals, and they eat no meat. It's all, yes, absolutely. That is, we had it all. The truth was always presented to us. But because through epigenetics and lineage and culture and different things of that nature, like we hold about 14 to 15 generations in this experience, although everything infinitely is within us. But when we reach to this density, we hold about 14 to 15 generations within our DNA, right? In terms of what has been expressed. That's what we're holding and everything like that. So, through epigenetics and everything, that's why we're still consuming it. It still makes sense. And even if sometimes you don't even want it, you still consume it a little bit, because there are cravings. There are so many different things that are contributing, because the mind has not yet your essence of you has not yet taken over the physical, because you can control the physical, because the physical is the latter. It's always the energy that creates the matter, right? The energy of you is what creates the matter, right? What's the matter? What's wrong with you? You are the matter. What's the matter, right? What has been materialized, right, is when someone asks you what's the matter, what has been materialized, what is the matter. Okay, so the creational aspect of you is always over the control over the matter, but we have been moving in reverse polarity, so therefore the matter has been illusionistically, it seems that the matter is controlling the spiritual, but that's illusionistic in nature. That's because you're just wanting to have that experience, but that's not necessarily the case. Okay, it's always the creative source for its energy that creates the physical, right? So now what we're doing with this evolutionary thing in terms of the lab grown meat is exactly that. It's an expansion of consciousness, right? Because of the vibration that we are emitting in a collective way of vibrating out of the density of the death experience. So eventually the death experience in its whole totality will not be experienced, because we're vibrating out of the death experience. And one of the essences of understanding how we're vibrating out of the death experience is because we're vibrating out of the consumption of death, right? So the death experience it's not just you die, right? We are always having a death experience, whether we're listening to somebody dying on the news, whether we're going to somebody's funeral, whether you're working in a hospital and you see somebody die. We are always having the death experience. The death experience is all around us. It's at all times. When you see a dead dog in the middle of the street that done got hit by a car, when you see things dead or whatever the case may be, that is a part of a vibrational vortex of the death experience. So we're always experiencing death. So the beauty about what I'm grateful to see in this essence is that we're vibrating out of the death experience, right? Because the very thing I got the I didn't put it on I should have put it on my stories. But there is a thing where I did save, and I'll put it on my stories after the live. Life don't seem real anymore in 2023 divine. And what do you mean? What do you mean by that? I don't know what you mean by that. Well, let me tell you something. Roll, roll, roll your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Roll, roll, roll your boat gently down the stream, and you'll see, merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Okay, all right. Let's see what you got to say, Mr. Sincere. Oh, yeah, I've been seeing him go online. I'm talking to YouTube right now. I've been seeing him going online, Mark. But yeah, you're right. I haven't really been seeing him like come into different lives and different things of that nature. You're right. What's up?
What's up, D?
How
You
you?
doing this morning?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Good. No, what I'm saying, the world don't seem real anymore because everything is like artificial now. It's not like real human life anymore, like nature, like everything that you see with the AI and all that stuff. That's why when we say the world is changing, like, I don't know if the world is changing in like a good place. Like, it's just moving so fast. Like, when I see the world, when I look at the world, when I go outside today on Saturday, like when I go to the grocery store or just to the food stand, it's not the same. People don't even have to serve me the food no more. It's all technology. It's different now. It's divine, and that's why I look at the world as a change. And a lot of my friends that I talk to online, they say, yeah, we all look at it the same way as young adults. The world is changing so fast. It's not what it used to be. It's different now.
Yes, but you know what? Depending on the level of consciousness that you're operating from, because I see the same thing in a different way, right? I don't necessarily. I see the world that is transforming, yes, right. But the way I understand the essence of the transformation that is taking place is not necessarily in a negative way. We have to realize that we have been moving in an experience of a polarity, right? So therefore, it's okay for you to look at it from that perspective, because genetically, epigenetically, through memory, cellular memory, that has been our experience in this holistic expression. So it's not to say that you're wrong for seeing it that way, because you have been cultivated energetically for this experience to present itself in that way, in that energetic vibrational vortex. But to give you a different perspective of the same energetic anomaly of how you are experiencing it, we are evolving, and this is just the snake shedding its skin, right? So therefore, how I understand what's taking place, that if it's here, right, if it's here and it's functional and it's moving, right, at a soul level or a more incomprehensible level of consciousness that we are not at this moment, right, in understanding, there is a bigger situation that's going on where the all, I call it the all, you guys call it God, everybody, it got many different names, right? Well, the all wanting to experience itself in an artificial state of expression, right? when you begin to understand that all of this is illusionistic in nature, it's experiences. Every jackrabbit thing is experience. Me talking to you right now is an experience in this vibrational vortex, right? When you begin to understand that this is an experience and there's a plethora, there are infinite amount of possibilities, infinite amount of experiences, you understand that when you see something in the essence of a shift at this caliber, that you know that the all is permitting, allowing this to be permissible to be energetically expressed. But always know in the back of your mind that the organic side of the expression will always be in space, because the artificial of anything cannot commence without the organic. The organic will always be in space, because that is the power source, that is the power horse, that is the power force. The organic will always be in its space. It's just that it has this deep divine intelligence, where of itself it wants to experience these things. So if there is a person that's in a lab that's creating meat, that is still a part of the all. That is still, that person, that being is still an essence of the all. So even though we're looking at it from a separational sense, or a separation from self, because in this density, that is the experience at this level of consciousness, is for us to experience God outside of self. Separation from self, right? Seeing ourselves as individuals instead of seeing ourselves as a connectional force source energy that is just operating at different levels of consciousness, but we're still whole.
Let me question, D. Let me tell you something, D. Do you believe that the world like got destroyed because of technology? If we stay like in nature, like I feel like, if let's say if social media or the technology all crumbled, right? A lot of people won't be able to survive.
That's not true. That's not true. It depends on where you are in the level of consciousness.
People depend on the internet.
Well, I'm not going to debate. It's true for you, but it's not true for me, right? Right? It's true for you, and I'm not here to say that it's not true for you, because the rate that you understand it at the vibration, you'll look at it from that perspective. But the way to give you a contrast of what that may look like, right? Because I'm not here to tell you that how you are feeling, it's not true, because it's an experience, it's a vibration to be expressed. So therefore, it is a truth, right? It is a truth. And if there are enough of you that thinks in that vibration, then that energetic vortex is going to always be expressed until we vibrate high enough to fade it into black, right? So it's a truth. I'm not saying that it's not true for you, but I'm gonna give you a contrast of that. I see us evolving, right? I don't see AI as a thing that's taking over us. I see it freeing us up as being a part of the evolutionary process. So that's just like we're it's our turn to evolve now. It's our turn to be able to energetically move into a vibrational vortex where we can now express our creativity without having to go clock in to a job, because remember, we it's hard to come from a change that has been consistent, that is connected to survival, because we don't realize that the survival was an experience. It's not necessarily that it's an absolute end all be all. It was the experience. We experienced the survival frequency and survival vibration. So as we ascend out of it, then there's going to be another energetic vortex where we are not in survival mode, right? So to me, it is freeing us so that we can accept the vibrational frequencies, evolutionarily so, because, our children, our grandchildren, the environment is changing, where now we can now begin to move in our creative source force energy in a different vibrational level of consciousness. And so therefore, this new evolutionary thing that's coming up that we're calling artificial intelligence is probably somewhat going to take over where we left off, because it's going through its evolutionary stage. When we evolve, it's not just the human beings or anybody else. It's everything evolving, down to the trees, the plants, the birds, the bees. It's all a trend. The rocks, the microorganisms, the bioorganisms, and all of that is evolving. It's not just human beings alone. Everything is shifting. Everything so this is when you begin to understand things from the holistic aspect of who you are. You also understand that that's just like going from first grade to second grade to third grade to fourth grade to fifth grade. Right? It's an evolutionary process. So then that's why you got the class of 1999, you got the class of the 20, you got the class of 2021, right? It's a shift. So I see it from a different perspective. I'm moving from a different level of consciousness. I'm not a victim to anything. So I don't move in victim consciousness. I don't see myself being in a value of being hurt or being anything happening to me. Things are happening for me, not to me, because I understand that we are all at this density going through an evolutionary process. And
That's
so
my
that
problem right there. That's my problem right there. It's like hard for me to embrace the change of the world, where it comes down to like technology, the money being everything is changed. Because I'm like with a routine, and the world is changing. It's everything is changing. I mean, I'm trying to embrace it, but it's different because now everything is digital. I'm so used to being old fashioned, just using the old dollar. Don't no more, D. The dollars is gone. Everything is changing in the world. I mean, it's not saying it's for a bad thing. It's just that for me, I have to embrace it because I'm used to moving at a pace where the world was moving slow, but the world is moving fast now. Indeed, when I look at the world, it's moving fast. Things are changing. Cars, you don't like go to the gas station. You don't see people pumping gas no more. Electric cars, things are changing. It's like we're in a whole new
right.
world.
And when you
Like
see it, when you see it
so I
that
like
deep,
it. It's interesting. I
when
like
you
looking at it.
yeah, when you see it that deep, right? The thing of it is, I am not in fear of anything. I'm not in fear of I'm not in fear of no vaccination. Of I'm not in fear of any of it. That's the thing. When you move out of certain, okay, I'm that person. Okay, I'm like that vibration that of what I was talking about the other day. I don't know if you were around, but about there are level of consciousness that doesn't have emotion, right? They don't move off emotion, right? So I'm that person in the same essence that don't move off of fear. I'm not fearful of anything, right? So I'm expressing from a vibrational vortex that doesn't include fear. Now, do I still have emotion? Yes. But fear is just not one of them that I choose to express, right, in this vibration. So I don't have the emotion. I don't express from the value of fear. So I don't fear any of those things. I don't fear death. I don't fear any of it. I have no fear of it. Okay. Now, will my body, that's at a soul level. Now, will my body respond to certain things because it's a physical vessel and it's there to protect you and different things of that nature? Yes, it will, but at a soul level that I am choosing to express in my sound self and sound mind, I have no fear. Okay. So when they talk, okay, I had somebody that come on here talking about lab grown meats allows them to inject the vaccine into the food that people aren't willing to take themselves, right? Okay, that's fine because guess what? It's placebo. A lot of times we they put it in there, and if you if you want to experience the effect of it, then you will experience the effect of it. If that experience of you taking it allows it, you lose your avatar as a result of it, okay, you lose your avatar. See, when I talk like this, it sounds insensitive. It's not about me being insensitive. It's just that I know that I am not the body, that this is just an experience. Me being here, communicating with you guys, having, this diatribe with you guys is an experience, right? It's just an experience. It's what you decide for it to be, because you are the creative source force energy that is creating your reality by how you internalize your now moment. So if you are internalizing your now moment through extraordinary things, or you're internalizing your now moment through indoctrination, or you're internalizing your now moment through external things, or even if you're internalizing your now moment within yourself, however you are interpreting or perceiving this now moment is what is creating your reality. Ain't nobody doing nothing to you. It is happening for you because you are the creative source energy that is allowing whatever it is that is cultivating your mental, right, to be expressed in this now moment. When you move from that state of being or that state of level of consciousness, I am no victim. That's why a lot of times when I hear, that's why I don't really engage into a lot of the densities that subject matters that are being expressed, right? Because I know I have a choice. Why put myself in an environment that I don't want to experience? I don't want to experience that density of the arguing and the gender wars and everything, because I understand that it exists because it is permissible. And when we want to, just like how we wanted to vibrate out of the meat, this is why the alternative to the meat vibration of it is being induced into lab grown meat. Who's to say they already putting steroids and shit in meat? Everything is genetically modified. If you ain't gone somewhere in the wilderness and found a wild orange or a wild bell pepper or a wild carrot or a wild watermelon, if you ain't gone somewhere where it is untouched, and it has been well preserved, you are eating something that has been genetically modified. This experience is no different from what it is that we are already experiencing. It's just that we are not aware of it at the caliber to what this is doing, because we have associated meat with death, right? We associate eating meat to dying. It's already been modified. Every shit nasty thing you eating right now. For those of you guys who think that you are vegan and eating fruits and vegetables, if you ain't went somewhere in the Amazon or the Himalayas mountains or some untouched place over in a country that doesn't have any type of nothing going on, it's well preserved, then you're still eating something that's genetically modified. Everything is genetically modified. Okay, so that is the thing. So we pick and choose what it is that we want to associate with certain things just to have a conversation. But the thing of it is that it's an experience. It's an evolutionary process of what is actually taking place, right? Why be afraid of something that you are creating? Because the essence of you, right, is creating these energetic anomalies. So then what it would say for me to do is say, okay, right, I'm vibrating out of meat, period. So they can grow meat in the lab and I still won't eat it because I'm vibrating out of the consumption of meat, period. Because not just because it's meat, because of the vibration and the density that it is, right? So what that says to me, some people might say, oh, it's a way to poison us. What that says to me, whether it's a way to poison us or not, I understand that meat is dense from a physical, a metaphysical, or quantum sense of understanding. So why would I want to consume density? Energetic density. That's the way I look at it now. I don't look at it for the pleasure of having meat, for the pleasure of the experience of eating meat, because I am moving metaphysical now. I'm moving in the essence of where my soul or my energy is now in control over my physical. Not the polarity where the physical was in control over everything, illusionistically, okay? An illusion. So now my state of awareness is allowing my soul essence of me, the true energetic value or the knowing of me, to be more in control over the physicality of what I constantly create. So now I'm aware of the controlling of the physical because I understand that I am creating it. I'm creating my relative reality. It's not happening to me, it's happening for me because I am the initiator by how I process this now moment. So when I see gender wars, I allow them to commence because there's a vibrational vortex where that wants to be experienced, and I respect the fact of it being expressed because I take the path of least resistance. So me, I'm not going to go into no gender war and be like, y'all don't need to be doing this. Y'all don't need to be saying that, because all I'm doing is giving it energy to sustain because I understand energy now. So what I do is just move in the essence. How I say a silent no without resistance is saying yes to what it is that I truly want to experience. So therefore, that's my path of least resistance, is by saying yes to what I experience, because it inadvertently, without saying, it says no to the experience without resistance, because I respect the fact of the energy being expressed. And when it no longer wants to be expressed, your attention will derive into a value to which you truly want to experience. So that is ultimately your silent no to the experience. That you're not giving it no resistance. You're just giving your energy to what it is that you want to experience. And see, this is where a lot of people in the physical don't understand. Oh, she don't come over here no more. She don't say this no more. No, I don't. The way I'm dealing with gender wars is to say, without saying, this is what I want to experience. I don't want to experience that, but I'm not going to say no to it, especially for those who still want to experience it. I'm just going to go ahead and give it my silent no by saying yes to what it is that I do want to experience. This is how you move in the path of least resistance. It ain't got nothing to do with feelings. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody. It's about understanding who you are as a vibrational being, as an energy being, as a being that has the ability to create through life source force energy. Right? Right? It's an experience. How you understand?
Let me tell you this, Mr. Vaughn. I don't think the gender war is like righteousness, like in its consciousness. Because why like the men and the women have to fight, and that's why I don't feel like it's good for the whole world is bad with the gender war. The man versus it's so bad, Mr. Bond. It's so bad. It's like, why do we have to have a gender war? And I understand if it was like divine, if it was like a solution, but this thing, you can't make this up. It's got out of control. The women, the men, it's no solutions to it. And how I try to come into the gender war, because you've seen my lives before. I try to do it like with a solution. Let's actually talk. But it's too far, man. The gender war. I watch it, but it's too much going on, Mr. Bond. It's still an energy that I don't want to like forget about, but it's out of control. It's out of control.
There.
There's no gender war. I don't believe it is. Like, I never really believed the whole time when I was doing stuff talking about the gender war. I don't truly believe divine is a gender war. I think men and women can truly get along and not fight. I really believe that.
Yeah, it's just, I just use that as an example because I know that is your forum, but I'm not here to judge. What I'm saying is I'm not here to judge and feel that, I don't feel that the world is bad. I don't feel that the world is good. I feel that we are in an experience of our choosing, of our creation, because we are creating this, right? So when you move from an essence of your power, of understanding that, okay, if I'm creating all of these energetic anomalies, when am I going to take ownership and responsibility for what I create? When I'm going to step into my spiritual maturation and step into the aspect of saying, okay, I'm responsible for being a co-creator to this energetic anomaly. If I no longer want to have that experience, it's time for me to co-create or create with an experience that I do want to experience, right? This is where I'm getting into the essence of it. It's not about feelings. It's not about feelings. It's about being responsible of what your power, of what you have. In order to be responsible for the power, you got to first know that you got it, right? You got to first know that you are aware that you are creating your reality. So now that I am in an essence of awareness, where I am aware that, okay, I am creating my reality, right? I'm taking ownership and responsibility to how I execute my energy, right? Because I'm either going to co-create on something that I want to experience. I'm not going to co-create on something that I don't want to experience, right? I'm going to create in the essence of what it is that I truly want to experience, right? That's all that is. So it's not about, but the respect factor is allow people that want to have that experience. It's labeled as gender wars. It's labeled as, whatever it's labeled as. It has many different names, but it's still the same energy, right? Let them be. Because eventually, it's just like how we're vibrating out of beat. We're vibrating out of beat. This is why there's alternative. This is why you know that the whole essence about eating meat for protein and this and that or whatever was all propagated, right? For you to consume the density of death, or the experience of death, or the vibration of death. We call it death, but it has a vibration and an energy component to it, right? That we call death. It is to experience that level of consciousness and density that dwells in it. Okay. So now they still want you to experience the density because we're vibrating out of the trauma, right? We're vibrating out of the trauma of slaughter, right? But they still want you to experience the density. So now they hit the jackpot with, $1 million jackpot with the stem cells, right? To do the cloning, which that's no new revelation, but everybody's, think that cloning is this new thing. Ain't nothing new about cloning. Ain't nothing new about none of this, right? And so now everything now is like, you wanted this and this and that or whatever. This ain't no new revelation about nothing that's being done. This shit is antiquated by comparison to what really truly is actually being expressed, right? Me looking at the glass full, not even half full, but full, we're on an evolutionary path where if I may not experience it, right, in terms of me, not, being able to fully engulf my creative force source energy in the manner to which I want to express it without having to go to work. And I may not experience, but I know it's coming because we're vibrating out of the slaughter of eating meat. So we're vibrating out of the death experience, right? That's what that tells me. Right? Because everybody look at death experience as you laying down in a coffin, right? Dead, right? That's the death experience. No, that is the final essence of the expression of death. But we experience the death experience from the time we are born, right? When they give you milk from a cow, or they give you if you're not suckling from living milk, right? If you're not breastfeeding, right? They started off from the time you're born, right? To get you acclimated to the death experience in that regard, right? It's not just physical death. It's the experience of death. It's energy in every facet of where it resides, right? So that's why I'm saying this is a clear and cogent essence of what we are evolving. We are evolving, and to me, that's a beautiful thing. I don't have no qualm because I don't move in a state of woe is me, I'm a victim. I don't move in that. Ain't nobody doing shit to me. If just like these stories come out and stuff like that, I instantly have my own interpretation energetically of what that represents itself to be. And I'm like, shit, they fake their death, right? They did in Nevada, right? Or this is some kind of energetic response of the vibrational wars between trying to control this atmosphere or some shit. Like I dismiss it because I move from an energy sense. So they can't propagate to me and convince my mind of something that I don't want to experience because I read energy, right? That is my language, right? I read energy, right? So that is the reason why I come here to show the beauty about we're shifting. The essence of me using this topic here is to show the shift, right? And to let you know that what we are creating around us, the experiences, is responding to how we want to have the experience vibrationally, right? It's responding because we are creators, okay? And I know that, but I'm not taking away from the experience of how you want to experience, or anybody for that matter want to experience their waking life, right? But I just felt like, this is the most beautifulest thing that you could, I don't know if beautifulest is a word, but this is the most beautifulest thing that I could ever kind of come up on here and express, right? Because it's showing a shift. I can equally say, oh, they're putting, inoculations in the meat and stuff. I can say that, but shit, I ain't living like that. I don't give a shit. They doing shit to everything. Everything has been somewhat contaminated by comparison to its original organic state to be. Hell, you have been. Shit. Right? You done been to the doctor, you done had saline, you done had some type of psychotropic medication or any type of, pain medication and different things of that nature, or have any type of inoculation and stuff like that. What do you think all that shit is? Everything has been what we may consider as, a contaminant against the organic aspect. But we tend to kind of like pick, choose, and refuse what it is we are willing to accept. But if you really want to get down with the real deal, Holyfield, all this shit is genetically modified. Even you. Because if you have had any type of inoculation, what do you think that virus do? It's messenger RNA that is going into your genetics to communicate with your genetics. So when you read positive for chickenpox, measles, mumps, and rubella, right? That they say that they have given you immunity, but what that translates into is that they don't hit the bullseye for that virus to communicate with your genome, right? Gene therapy, okay? No different than what this inoculation of the hot sauce 19 is apparently supposed to be doing. This has been done, right? This is why as you come out of the womb, they want to, hit you with some form of inoculation, okay? So everybody has been genetically modified to some capacity. Unless you are living out there tribal somewhere and you are nowhere in the conformities of this social system, right? And you out there in the wilderness and, doing your own things and garnering your own organic immunity to things, right? This is why if you were to take someone that has organic immunity and you put them in a population like us, they instantly get sick and die. Because we're the contaminants to them. So everything in this societal setting, in these major societal settings, is already contaminated. Your food, your water, everything to include you. And when we begin to take ownership and responsibility, that is a true, no, I don't care how you are vegan, you could be vegan, vegetarian, fruitarian, whatever, you could have the best diet plan. Yo ass, you get a true organic being that has never been into the capacity of this construct. You put him in the midst of us, he will die. Because we are poison to him. Let that one sink. So we can pick, choose, and refuse what we want to be mad about. But when you begin to look at yourself in the construct of what we created as a collective consciousness and begin to take ownership and responsibility, then maybe we won't talk as much. And we'll begin to say, okay, well, how can we begin with our creative source for energy, create a relative reality that we truly want to experience? Taking ownership and responsibility to our creational value of what we have allowed through indoctrination, through all of these things. And it's permissible because we are creative source force energy that has allowed it to commence. We are a part of the process as a collective consciousness, right? This is why I speak energy, right? I take ownership and responsibility for everything that I see around here. I do. I take it as a collective understanding of it being permissible and me being a part of the all, experiencing itself through us, right? I'm a part of the whole of it. So I'm not going to just be like, okay, a little bit, and I ain't got nothing to do with that. I ain't got nothing to do with that. No, I may not be operating in that vibrational vortex, but if I want to change the energetic anomaly to it, I can't tell the universe that I have to show the universe what it is that I do want to experience, right? By being, right? This is where you got to be what you want to see. You got to be what you want to see. By being. That's why I say a solid no is saying yes to what it is that you want to experience. I ain't got to go and say, no, I ain't got to do this. I don't want to do that. No, I just be what it is that I want to see. Path of least resistance. I don't have to remind you of the experience that you chose, right? Right? I ain't got to remind you of the experience that you chose. Really and truly, I don't. Okay? I don't have to remind you of the experience that you chose. You are choosing to have, I have to respect the fact of the experience that you chose. And it's one or two things. It's either I'm going to co-create with you in that experience and be like, yeah, however that co-creation come along, whether I'm aware or unaware, or I'm not going to co-create you within the experience and move in the vortexes of energies that I do want to co-create with or create on my own. But the beauty about it is that it's either you are aware or you are unaware. If you are aware, then you definitely know where you want to co-create and where you want to create. It ain't got nothing to do with about nobody's feelings because you are aware of who you are. You are moving into your state of awareness and your state of knowing of thyself. But I used to be the person where I was trying to save the world, right? I was trying to save the world. I wanted everybody to be like, I'm like, why they don't feel like me? Why nobody don't understand divine words of wisdom? Why is it that I'm trying to save the world? Because no, it wasn't about me saving the world. It was about me saving myself, because every individual is having the experience of their choice. They are creating it. Either they are creating it through victim conscious, through vengeance consciousness, through stories, through indoctrination. Whatever the experience is their right to have that experience until they come to the level of awareness where they no longer want to experience it anymore. It's not for me to come in and try to change any goddamn thing, but other than me being aware. What I do here is share an aspect of myself. I tell you guys that all the time. I share an aspect of myself with you that works for me. Okay? What to be what moving in the essence of knowing thyself looks like, and however great or small, because there's many different vibrational vortexes, a level of consciousness where you might have a yogi, right, or a monk that expresses differently, and you might be like, divine child, you act like you in a different level of consciousness and you all that, and I know a yogi that's better. No, it ain't divine that I'm acting like I'm at a different level of consciousness. First of all, I am at a different level of consciousness. I ain't saying I'm at a higher level of consciousness or a lower level of consciousness. I'm expressing from a different level of consciousness. That is factual. Because half the shit that I say, nobody don't get but me. And this dimension will call me crazy from expressing from a different level of consciousness. Right? Because if you're not expressing from a third density level of consciousness, then you're extraordinary, or you're different, or you're crazy, or you're this or that. If you don't agree with these ideologies of what somebody else say, then you're this or that. You don't know what you're talking about. No, I know what I'm talking about for me. Just like you know what you're talking about for you and the experiences that you understand and the method to how you understand it and the vibration that supports it, right? Your level of consciousness and that supports it. But when you make it sound so simple and so easy without judgment, right? That makes things uncomfortable for certain people because people want to judge. But then that too is an experience. You want to experience what judgment feels like, right? I ain't knocking nobody hustle in terms of what they want to experience because it's deep, but it's not that deep, okay? That's the beauty about being in the essence to where you begin to just be responsible. Take ownership. I take ownership for my creation of the co-creation. When I used to believe in religion, I understand religion exists because of me. I was a part of that vibrational vortex when I was going to church, singing in the choir, saying hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. And even though I was questioning it all at the same time, I still gave it energy, right? To sustain. It had my participation, right? I grew up my grandfather was a Baptist minister. I grew up in a church, or whatever. That was what my lineage was. I was in it. I was in the choir singing and everything like that, took piano lessons and all that shit, right? And I take ownership and responsibility. And when I no longer wanted to experience that, then something else came in the midst of what it is that I do want to experience, right? And I remember saying, Jesus ain't the way. He ain't the only way. You know what I'm saying? Going in opposition. That was resistance, right? So now I say Jesus is the way. Path of least resistance. Why divine Jesus in the way? Because you have those who want to experience Jesus. And they have a right to experience Jesus. They have the right to experience religion. They got a right to experience whatever the hell that they are choosing at that level of consciousness to experience. Path of least resistance. Let those who want to experience those vibrational vortex have the ability to experience it because it is an illusion and they have a right to energetically experience. When it begins to shift, it will change. Because just like even though you're still eating meat, there is something deep down inside of Buddy Love that is emitting a vibration that is altering your state of being, even though your genetics and your epigenetics still, and your culture and everything that you are inhabiting in this now moment still got you eating meat. There's something that is vibrationally sound that is promoting the essence of the transitional vibration of vibrating out of consumption of death. To me, that is a beautiful thing because that means eventually we're no longer going to have the death experience. So we are elevating out of the death experience because we're no longer consuming death. I see the glass all the way full, not even half full. I see it all the way full. I move from a different. Some of you might be like, damn, Divine, full of shit. She don't know what she's talking about. You all this shit going and everything. Yeah, I'm gonna be full of shit to you because we ain't vibrating in the same level of consciousness. So no, I ain't gonna make. But the difference between me and you is that I may not make sense to you, but you make sense to me. I understand your world, but you just don't understand mine. That's the difference, right? I'm not judging you because I understand your world and where you are and where you're moving from, but you're judging me, right? That's the difference. And it's not right or wrong, but that's just the difference, right?
I understand 100%, and I agree with everything you said, Devon. You broke it down. I agree. It's all about the experience. That's the most important thing, the experience.
We judge because we wanted to experience judgment, right? It's an experience. Yes, a lot of life has been lost. Our interpretation of loss, right? It's an experience. We are in a vibrational vortex to experience death at every caliber of how death can be experienced. Many of us have not experienced physical death, but we still experience death every day. Somebody got shot. Somebody, they slaughtered a cow. You eating death, right? Well, every time you have a steak, every time you have a pork chop, every time you have a piece of chicken, right? How do you think that chicken? Oh, it was lab grown, but was it doing one of these numbers and pluck and click go and shit like that? And did it move on its own individualism with without any mechanics? Right? If it did that, then it was alive. I don't care if it was alive for 5 seconds. Right? It was alive. It had life source energy moving through it. Right? And yet and still, we go to Popeyes. See, the difference is about killing plants, right? The difference is about killing plants, right? The plant system has a backup to the backup. I'll never forget. My grandmama had an oak tree, right? And the oak tree was the oak tree. She had 2 oak trees. The oak tree was near to the house, right? It was real near to the house, right? And they decided to cut the tree because they was afraid of the tree doing something to the house or whatever the case may be, right? Right? And they didn't dig up the roots, right? And so the oak tree sprouted again at the stump, right? So here they go now. They come in and try to kill the root, right? Come in and dig up the tree to try to kill the root, right? Had a whole nother ecosystem. See, the thing about trees is that what you may think you're doing over here doesn't constitute what it may do over there, because there's a whole nother interconnectional system that is going on that it will sprout up somewhere else, right? It will sprout somewhere else. Okay? Because they move from a whole nother different vibrational system. Okay? When you pluck a fruit from a tree, you're not killing the tree. The tree has the ability to regenerate. You're not killing the tree to get the fruit. You actually rely on the tree to live so that it can bear fruit again, right? When you pick a tomato from a vine, you're not killing the vine, right? You're not killing the grapevines, because if you kill the grapevines, you got to start the shit all over again. And if you got some good grapes coming of it and it's profitable, hell, you ain't going to try to kill your vine. You ain't going to kill your tree that's making you money. You ain't going to kill it. You're going to continuously keep plucking for it, no different than how they do the cows. The cow's breast. I didn't even want when I was breastfeeding my kids, I didn't even want my children on my breast like that. Sucking all the time. But they put machines on cows to pull out milk and stimulate them to keep them lactative, right? We as women don't even want our children on our breast like that. That shit is annoying and aggravating, especially when they get teeth. Mine had teeth, right? Okay, but here it is that they didn't kill that cow because that cow was of service, right? That cow, they kept that cow constantly lactating, right? They didn't kill that cow, right? So imagine the stress that endured on that poor cow, right? Those cows, okay? You don't have to kill anything you don't have to kill a tree. You don't have to kill the beauty about an orange tree, the beauty about a mango tree. They have its seasons and everything else, right? I don't know. Somebody keep trying to come up, but then it goes on and off. And every time I hit it, I'm hitting it. I'm letting you up, and it's not. Oh, there it goes. Okay. I was just acting crazy.
How do I get on here?
It said that you wanted to get on here.
No, it said you sent me a request.
I never said nothing. My hands.
I know you didn't, but IG been doing that shit.
I didn't. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yep.
Right?
Well.
But the thing of it is that the difference between a tree, they have a whole different type of ecosystem. Where you may think that you have killed a tree in the United States, but it'll spawn somewhere else in China because they have a whole ecosystem of survival. They have a whole ecological system that is different from how we understand, the system. And trust me, they are aware of it from a metaphysical perspective. They know. But you don't have to kill a tree to survive. You pick up coconut, it grow more coconuts. The next season, whenever season, most times the coconuts still grow. You pick an orange, you pick a mango, you grow watermelon. You don't kill the vine. You just take the watermelon, right? Okay, no problem, sincere. Gratitude for your presence. I'm grateful that you were here. Thank you for being here, right? You don't have to. So therefore, that was my motivation for me to move meatless. Is that in order for me to survive, I don't have to kill and consume meat, right? I don't have to kill a life for my life to survive. I don't have to kill like that for me to survive. There are other means of me survive. That was my initial motivation going into me becoming meatless, right? But now another phase of it has come into place where it's like, I'm feeling better. Shit. Right? I'm feeling like living life like it's golden from a physical perspective. So like now shit even if I began to crave meat, I'm like, the devil is a lie. No, meat ain't going up in here. Cause I'm feeling too good. I'm feeling better. And it's that's the only thing that I really have done. So imagine if I begin to do certain other things too as well. Right? So that's what one thing led to the next, right? But you don't have to kill in order to survive. And so the thing about this about this lab grown thing, the way that I'm looking at it, and I'm sure that, like I said in the beginning of the live, there's going to be a plethora of many different variations of how this particular anomaly is going to be understood. So I'm ready for all of the diversity that's going to come along with this lab grown meat things. You're going to have many different vibrations that's going to express on this. But the way that I'm expressing it is that it shows a shift. They knew the shift when they began to go plant-based. They knew that the vibrational shift was taking place upon the plane. So this is why they start propagating, what was the name, impossible whoppers and plant, all of this impossible meetings and stuff like that. They start pushing the narrative of that to get people more acclimated into these lab grown things, right? Because they understood the vibrational shift that was commencing. So now what they're saying is, and their main objective is that because they know that we're becoming more vibrationally astute, the thing that they're using now is that it lessens the fact of having to kill animals, and animals would now be able to graze and this and that or whatever the case may be. That is the narrative that they're using to facilitate and push the momentum of this lab grown meat. And to me, that red vibration, we're vibrating out of the density of the consumption of death, which to me is a beautiful thing.
Well, I want people to understand that even veganism is an agenda. You know what I'm saying? It's a lifestyle change that must take place, right? Because just being vegan, and I know people who went vegan and became really sick, unhealthy, had to go back to eating meat, mainly other kinds of people, but the reason is because there's an agenda. And as you said, with the lab-grown meat, you're not going to get nutrition. You're not going to get nutrients. The same thing with all these lab-grown impossible meats, lab-grown veggies, any fruit that doesn't produce a seed. If you're going to eat people plants that don't got seeds, all of those things. You say something?
I can hear. You were going in and out.
Oh. Hold on. You hear me better now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Let me put my headphone in. Right. All right. So, with all of these things, anything that the mainstream pushes, it's something you want to stay away
Away
from.
from, right.
You know what I'm saying? So if they say it's good, it ain't good. Like when this whole kale kick came off back in like 2010, 2011, everything was kale, 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 the new superfood. No, let me rephrase that. That was first part of the agenda, modifying these fruits, because they've been modifying corn and all these things. But that's why I want to get to something even more important that you said. The seed, right? Because I get this a lot from people. They're like, oh, well, you still have to kill a plant to eat it, right? And that's wrong. Because what happens is most fruits produce, most plants produce a fruit that ripens and falls to the ground when it's perfectly compatible for you. And let's just say we wiped out every tree. I mean, every tree. Cleared it, gone. They do not go extinct because you still have the seed to bring them back. They also have this extremely unique property that somehow we forgot that we have, and it's called rejuvenate. No,
regenerative properties, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they can regenerate themselves.
Yes. If you cut a tree, no matter how big the limb is, if you cut it at the right angle and put it in water, it will generate roots. You now have the exact same tree that will grow a whole nother completion of it. So we have to understand the power of nature. Nature was designed so even when man was in his
it got you breaking up.
They couldn't tear it down and eat meat. Like, constantly you're eating meat, right? If every single, so better yet, how about this? From 1950 to 2023, 50% of the animals that were alive in 1950 extinct. Can't bring them back. It's over. And I think when I first came on, I heard you talking about the way that they milk these cows. Mm-hmm. That's strategically designed. I need y'all to understand that we don't own the animals anymore. They're not on our personal little farms, on our personal land. So they didn't actually get a love exchange from us when we did eat them, right? What happens now is they know that stress causes cancer. It causes something called cortisol. And that cortisol can cause many different diseases, right? So what they do is they stress these animals to the point of damn near exhaustion and death. Then we go and
consume that energy, right? That cortisol,
and so
right?
It's not so much the flesh that is killing us; it's the tenseness in the meat. Now, any hunter knows this is why they want to get a clean shot on a deer, because if you hit that deer, I just got the goosebumps, and the meat tenses up, the meat can actually putrefy and cook itself from overheating, and that ruins the meat. That is not something.
They pause alive. They pausing alive.
You want to put into your body because that actually can harm. I don't want to just see my steak cut. Like most of y'all couldn't even eat no steak if you actually saw what the hell happened to it. You couldn't eat no animals if you had to. How am I had to go cut off a chicken? Your grandmother back in the day was like, yo, go get the chicken. That chicken ran the fuck around. You cut its head off, and that shit is still running. That shit will fuck you up.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. That's the thing about us beginning to understand these processes. If you guys ever want to go on YouTube, if it's still there, it's called Kill It, Cook It, Eat It. It's a show that's based out of Britain, right? And if you, I haven't seen it in years, so I don't know if it's still there on YouTube or not. But I think that was one of the gateways for myself to begin to understand certain things and the processes of it. And so therefore, to give you a quick synopsis of this show, you had to raise it, then you had to kill it, then you had to cook it, and then you had to eat it. And they personalized it. On some episodes, they personalized it and gave them names. They gave some of the animals names and different things of that nature. Okay? And if you had to do this process yourself, right, you would not be able to, when you get to the final end result, you wouldn't be able to do it. There are many butchers and many slaughter people that work at a slaughter facility and will not eat meat. They will not eat it, okay? Because of the visual, right? They will not eat it. The process, okay? So it's, but I don't really want to get into it being, I don't really want to, what I'm trying to show here today, right, is not necessarily about who consumes it and who doesn't consumes it, because I understand that if you're still consuming meat, that is your right to do so, okay? I'm not here to judge anybody about them consuming meat. The essence of what I saw, this narrative of what is being expressed due to the expansion of consciousness, because the expansion of consciousness is now propagating this new energetic anomaly to present itself for the expression. So when you eat anything, you are expressing energy. You're consuming, you are expressing, you're doing anything. So when you are a part of anything, you are expressing that vibration. So when I saw that this thing came out, I was actually kind of happy. I wasn't happy in the sense of most people like, oh, they're giving us GMO and everything. You are a GMO, goddammit. We all are GMOs around this mug, to be quite frank, right? So that's neither here nor there. Pick, choose, and refuse what GMO you want to be, okay? That's neither here nor there. But what this energetically said to me was that, okay, that we're shifting out of the vibration of consuming the death experience. So now we're vibrating out of the consumption of death in the matter to which, because we still consume death or experience death or many different aspects of consumption, right? But eating it, right? Eating it is now coming, we're vibrating out of that. And this...
Can I add to what you just said?
Yes, sure.
So now, see how she just said that we're moving out of eating death? We also have to move out of consuming death in other ways. That's
right.
music,
That's exactly what I was saying.
That's television, movies. Because just because we're consuming death, right, physically, we don't understand that we're consuming it mentally,
emotionally, metaphysically, right.
Emotionally, spiritually.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier.
The body doesn't, the mind doesn't know when you're watching someone get killed on a TV show. The mind doesn't know that
the
that
difference.
was a TV
That's
show.
right.
It knows that someone's dead. And so this is how we've been so desensitized over the years, where, you know, people in the streets can just be shot and we don't look anything. We look at them like nothing. But then a little kitty gets stuck in a tree and it's like, oh my God, no, not the kitten. But yet you walk over this homeless man and get the fuck away from me, you scum. Like, see, that's part of the diet, the desensitizing. You know what I mean? We will look at a kitty as something, or we'll even look at a Chinese man for eating a kitty and he's wrong. They're wicked. How could they do that? But you're sitting here eating one of the most sacred animals in the world, a cow.
A cow.
The cow's dung brings knowledge and wisdom, which where the mushrooms grow from.
Right.
Every single society has always carried the cow as a very high sacred animal because of the knowledge that it brings. But here in America, no, just put that steak up on there. Put me some barbecue sauce, some what do you call it? Some sweet baby rays.
That was the true sacrificial lamb. Cows has been a true sacrificial, because we don't understand the metaphysical. But the thing of it is, like I said, we're growing into our knowing, right?
Yep.
We are growing into our knowing. And so therefore we are beginning to understand these things from a different level of consciousness, right? You can see the truth of a cow in its eyes. You know, they always talking about, the way to the soul is through your eyes, or whatever the case may be. But if you ever look into a cow's eyes, right, you can feel the essence of the vibration of a cow. The cow, they are very, very smart. They're loving. It's a whole, people that have raised cows, really, truly.
You just said something. Did you ever see the video of this cow, right? The farmer that it had got hurt and was like, I don't know if he fell in a ditch or something happened and the farmer was hurt. This cow walked miles going up to people, and look, I just got the goosebumps. And some guy said, I don't know, something about this cow just told me to follow it. So it went and followed this cow to where the owner of the cow was, found the guy. They ended up getting him out the ditch. He ended up fixing up his leg, right? A few days later, I seen another video of a deer. This deer was running up to cars,
stopping them. I saw that one.
What? let me found the baby deer in a fucking
Fence.
hockey net or a soccer net, fence or whatever it was, and ended up freeing the thing. And now there are many of these videos, and these animals know who to go to.
Energy, the vibration of the being, right? Yep.
But the problem is, do we know and not have enough sense to go, okay, this animal is trying to communicate with me?
Right.
You know what I mean?
It depends on where you are. That's the thing. It depends on where you are at. You know what I'm saying? But the thing of it, but I love these little stories and different things that are coming out. Video to me, I used to look at video as a sense of like invasion of privacy. But now I even understand video from a different vibrational vortex. Now, it is allowing us to be able to have these shifts and make reference to, all of these, what we may call positive things that are actually happening, right? And so those are to show how we are truly interconnected with each other. You know what I'm saying? The true interconnection with each other. So think about it now. Everybody, if anybody want to know what telepathic communication looks like, right? Those two examples alone between animal and human, right, shows how the animal kingdom always telepathically communicate. And now these animals are seeing the shift, right? Vibrational shift where they're now able to start to telepathically communicate with us. Because we were absent from self, or we were in sleep mode, or we never saw ourselves with the ability to communicate in that way. We never thought that we had telepathic communication, even though it was always there and it was always present. But that's another beautiful essence to show a vibrational shift, because now we're seeing, that the animals are entrusting themselves with us now to be able to communicate to us, and we are now intuitively moving from our gut feelings to follow that intuition and communicate with the animal and trust it. You understand what I'm saying? So that's that's another shift and beautiful energetic anomaly that T brought up. And I'm grateful for that, because that's an essence of put your phone on mute, man. I don't know what that is in the background. But that's a beautiful essence of what we're able to see now because of video, right? So these are what we quote unquote call the positive sides of the video. So I'm actually grateful for these, and this also shows a shift, right? So these are things that I want people to, like I say, my glass is full. It's not even half full, right? I'm moving off a full tank of gas, right? Because I'm choosing to be in the energy vortex of what it is that I truly want to experience and express, right? So I know that
we had one thing you said, right? And it's to show the intelligence of the animals, right? I don't know if y'all remember during the tsunami, and it seems to be happening all over. Every time something major is happening, the animals know and they move.
They know before
they commute. Like, you will see animals that we think are sworn enemies, like lions, hyenas, zebras, and gazelles, all coming together. As a matter of fact, have you just seen all these whale attacks?
Yes, from the orcas. They not playing.
Yes. But this is the thing. It's whales and dolphins. These have been known to never get along. They're like Bloods and Crips. They like Democrat, Republican. You know what I mean? They go against each other. And so me personally, I'm going out on a whim here. And I really think that there's something higher. I think like mermaid, or, you know what I mean? There's a higher consciousness, because they're starting to understand, right? They're not attacking people. They're starting to see that, y'all motherfuckers' frequencies ain't up. And so I know me and you differ on this, but the planet is upgrading. So if you're not on that frequency, the animals know this shit. You think, I'm on a yacht, I'm having a good time and all this. And the animals like, nah, nigga, you up here, you probably a CEO with some bullshit that's fucking up my planet. You done dumped in the ocean, get them. And that's just my thought.
And you know what?
Shows the intelligence.
The essence of you explaining it in that way is very much in the energy that is being expressed. And that's the thing. The difference between me now and maybe me 6 months ago is that I don't refute any analogy that is being expressed, because there's, possibilities are infinite. There's infinite possibilities. Right. And I'm aware of it. And so for the fact that it's being expressed in this now moment, just made it exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's just being, if it's the first time you ever said it, right? To which I know that it isn't, but if it's the first time you ever said it, that means that even if it didn't exist before, it exists now because it has just been said. You understand what I'm saying? So it's infinite.
Yeah.
It's infinite possibilities, right?
But this shows the intelligence. See, if the animals can get together, right? And fucking they normally are fighting amongst each other or killing each other in the ocean, and they're getting together for a common cause. Why can't man? Why can't man get together and say, okay, look, forget all our personal, forget that you're black, forget that you're gay, forget that you're Republican, forget that you're Democrat, forget all the titles, right? The labels. We have a bigger agenda. The planet is dying, right? Well, I don't want to say dying because it will never die, but we have polluted it to a point that we are not compatible with it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The planet is reaching out. Why is it so hard for us to just comprehend that we must come together and help heal the planet, help heal the nations? I don't understand why, like, if the animals do it.
Well, that's one of the things. One of the things that I'm learning too is about, they talk about the animal instinct in you. You're animal. We're not animals and everything, but it seems like the animals has all along had a more of an expression of intelligence or spiritual maturation than the human being. So when we talk about woo, it ended alive, you guys. Look what it did. It ended alive, and I don't know why. And it's not hot in this car. And when, as soon as I said the animals had more intelligence than was operating from a vibrational vortex, it ended the lie. Y'all see that? It's not even hot. And the two phones is in the same spot. This is what IG does. But anyway, yeah, and it's not gonna, because I normally go on live on the other phone, but I'm here on YouTube too with this phone, so I don't know if they're gonna actually come over on YouTube. But wow. But I'm still going to say this, right? The animal kingdom, it was oftentimes said about, the animals this, the animals that, the animals don't you have the animal instinct, and you're animal, and we're not animals, and our DNA is not animals, and different things of that nature, to kind of somewhat downgrade the essence of how we see animals, or to make it seem that animals are less than us. But if we move and then begin to understand from an energetic perspective of how the animals has been consistent in terms of how it expresses itself, it has been more in alignment through the means of energy, more so than the human beings. And so therefore, that was a deflection, right? That was a deflection to keep us of thinking of animals in a heightened sense of awareness, and to kind of somewhat put ourselves at a superiority in the essence of that vibration that we were understanding this reality in, to which animals have always exemplified the ability to express vibrationally in a more sound way of expression. So now, even coming into that, it's funny that they now I'm gonna see if I can get it back. It's funny that they ended the live. It's okay. You're sorry. Your live video ended. You see that? They ended the live. All right. No problem. No problemo, por favor. Go ahead and put it back on here. All right, so this is video 2 for Instagram. The video is still going for YouTube. I never ended the video for YouTube, but this is video 2 for Instagram, right? But yeah, so I want people to begin to understand the essence of animals, right? Like I said, they always kind of somewhat propagated that the animals were less than us, but in terms of the essence of how they operate from a frequency perspective, vibrationally, right? It really was hold on. Okay, T, are you asking? Are you asking to be on here? Because it's saying that you are asking to be on here. Okay, sent a request. Okay. All right. That's crazy. I don't know. 1 minute I can't see the greatest come in here. I never see him when he comes in here, and all of a sudden he just pops up, and now it's saying
This time, yes.
You
The last, every time I don't know what they're doing to your live, but every time you come up, it says, divine words of wisdom request you to be in the video. But this is how I know it's not real, because normally when someone requests you, it doesn't say send request. But at the bottom, it says send request. Like, normally, like, if I want to come in, it'll say send request.
Mm-hmm.
So they're mixing the message, because when someone invites you, normally it just says accept invite.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, there's a
it's
thing
saying,
that comes in the plus sign down at the bottom. It shows that, you know how it tells you how many people that's waiting in queue to come live.
Yeah.
And so, you know, most times I don't see it, and then I see it, and then, but then it was going off, going on, going off, going on, like they couldn't make up their mind as to whether or not if they wanted to be live or whatever the case may be. I don't know. It's just, but I didn't see.
I have my own little theory with this. I think it's they're trying to get the algorithm to see how many people are spreading misinformation. That's my little theory with that, because it doesn't make sense that all of a sudden they want to that they're just putting this live thing up. But I don't want to deviate from the subject, because I want to stick on top with the animals, because there's something I want to address when you either when you're done or when I can go, about the animals that we as human beings have forgotten and need to remember.
Yeah, and I was saying that before, because I was saying it because I was like, you know, they got us talking about, oh, we're not animal, we don't have animal DNA. And I think that when they put that narrative out there, it was to deflect the true spiritual essence of what animals really are, right? And what they really, because they have been more attuned and astute into a spiritual sense of how they move on this plane more so than us. So in arrogance, we're thinking that we're better than the animals from a physical perspective, but from a spiritual perspective, the animals has always been in tune and astute from an esoteric or a energetic or a spiritual sense the entire time. So us not watching the animals because we were so self-righteous, thinking that, oh, I'm not an animal, I'm better than an animal, I'm this and that or whatever. In the physical sense, that was the arrogance of us, right? Oh, I'm not an animal, I don't have animal DNA. But if you look at it from a spiritual perspective, they have been more astute in terms of the expression of their spiritual essence, more so than us as human beings. IG is doing it. That happened every time I join your live on IG. Oh wow! Someone, I have Carissa on YouTube. She's saying that IG is the one that's doing it. Yeah, because you know, you see my hands is up here. I'll be, you know, I'm not.
No, I know you didn't say, because normally it would say accept invite.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're saying Divine wants you to go live, and most people aren't going to look at the bottom. They're just going to click it.
Yeah.
It says send request. So you can see that's Instagram fucking around.
Yeah, that's totally them. Totally them. Yeah.
Yep. But when it comes to these animals, I want people to understand, right, that man has dominion over this land, and is the only creature that can throw it out of balance. And the animals are here to always show you to stay true to your nature. Now, we have perverted that and said, oh, we're animals, we're this, we're that. No. They are here to show man to stay true to his nature, because they don't have a choice like us. They're spirits. They're not soul beings. So they are bound to this land. So they have more of a duty to it than we do. Meaning that they're not going to go, no animal shits where it sleeps except for us. So they have the ability to stay true to their nature. Look, the bird just flew. And stay true to their nature.
Oh.
And remind us that we must stay in balance, because we have dominion over the whole land. So it is only us that can cause homelessness and poverty, even in nature. Meaning, I'm not talking about humans. I'm talking about, we have deforested plants, that animals that have no say, have no choice. You understand? We need to remember it is our duty to keep everything in balance. So yes, there can be city and civilization, but there must be a place for nature. Yes, there must be a place for nature, but there must be a place for nature to thrive untouched. So everything must coincide. It's like a gear, right? Everything got to have its place. If we are a well-oiled machine, right? So you have to have certain gears up here, certain gears down here, a mechanism over here, and they have to be in place. And that's what the animals are for us. They are the mechanism for us to remember our place, and our place is to take care of this. Theirs is to exist because they have to stay true to their nature. This is why they disconnected us from being able to be in touch with the animals, because the animals will let you know. There is a tribe in Africa, right, that is so in tune that they can talk to the birds and find honey. They can talk to the ants and find carcasses. They can find different grounds where the earth is so fertile that they can plant there. You know what I mean? They can literally talk to the animals on some Dr. Dolittle shit.
Yeah, that's the disconnect. Yeah.
And that is a disconnect. This is what allows us to live in a city, in a civilization, and remove and now eat the animal unconsciously. Just tear up the forest, or better yet, blow up mountains for gold, and not thinking about the the microbiology that lives there. You know what I'm saying? See,
insensitive, right? Yeah, no emotion,
exactly.
Right? Emotionless,
yes.
Right?
Yes, and we had a different wording for microscopics or micro, but like the same things that people call a germ, we wouldn't call a germ. It might have been an ancestor, it might have been a spirit, it might have been a connection. We were very aware of the unseen world that has now been taken you can see with microscopes and other things. This is why we understood the natural microbiology of the world and kept things in balance. So we would create, so I don't know if you're aware, but like the Amazon jungle, most of us think that that's a rainforest, but that was a man-made garden. You know, like the soil there cannot be replicated anywhere on the planet and has been proven to be man-made. You know what I'm saying? We just
what place you were talking about again? I didn't hear it. You said where's
the Amazon rainforest? Most people think is a natural
habitat. Okay.
Yeah, we have proven that man made that.
Okay.
It was a man-made garden. Look up the soil. It's called, I have a hard time pronouncing it in Portuguese, but it's called pericata or pericata soil. This soil has microbes that is not found anywhere on the planet and has been proven to be man-made because of the biochar, the chemicals that are in there, and the chemicals are all man-made from nature. They have different compositions that can only be done from man's hand. And this soil has been proven to, you could take 1 handful or 1 cup of this soil and turn a 1/4 acre of infertile land fertile from 1 cup of this soil. So this is what I'm saying, that we forgot to look to the animals because the animals have stayed in tune, right? Their bodies are representations of the universe too, as ours, right? They have they take in the food, right? And their excrement becomes soil fertilization. You know what I'm saying? That's what the earth does. It takes things down, it breaks it down, and turns it back into nutrients for itself to grow. This is why we even give our bodies back to it. But we have been so sick and disconnected now. We embalm it, and we put it in a coffin so it can't break down so there's many different things that we, even that in itself is a science that we forgot, that, we would give our body back to the nature so we could become the wind spirit, we could become the microbiosms, and then when our grandchildren came, they could say, here's grandfather, here's grandmother, right here.
Yeah, because decomposition is a microbiology, a breakdown of microbiology. Yes, right. So that's us going back to our original form. That's why I say this thing about the shift is not just about us as human beings. The microorbs, the biologies, the bacterias, all of that. All of that is in essence of an evolutionary aspect of what this shift is commencing. It's not just us, and we get so self-centered to believe that, we're the only intricate parts that are going through this shift. No, it is everything and all things that is connected to life source force energy. Everything that is connected to it, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent, right? I don't really want to make this live too long, you guys. I think on YouTube I've been on here for 113 minutes. And I got to get back to the house to get some things done. But if we want to express a little bit more on it or expound a little bit more about, how what these shifts are really looking like and different things of that nature, I have no problem in talking about it. Like, I'm on me personally, I'm very optimistic. I'm on the upswing, but I don't have a problem with bringing some sense of neutrality to it, so it can have some equilibrium.
It's really going to come down to the same thing we say all the time. It's
Oh,
what you're going to match your frequency to, because you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, so the shift that is happening right now, right, is the same thing that happens every 26,000 years. This is why we don't know where the Mayans are. We don't know where the Romans are. We don't know where the ancient Egyptians are. See, we think we're still, no. What happens is an entire, like, if the earth gets out of balance, right? Like let's just say right now we're out of balance, right? We're going to jobs, we're not living in nature, we're making money, we're tearing down that kind of thing, right?
right.
So we've gotten so far that the earth literally just says, all right, hold up, reset. You know what I'm saying? And it literally changes. So the last time this happened was in 18, I believe, 58 or 68. Look it up. It's called the Carrington event. It was a major solar flare that happened. This is what's happening now.
Right.
So these shifts are just bringing different levels of consciousness, and the ones that are, let's just call it more dense, as opposed to more loose, like steam or gas,
fluid, right?
Are just shifting. And so where you give your attention is where you're going to shift. And it's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not a, oh my God, the world is ending. Oh, we got to save everybody. It's no. It's just, so you know how when we were in high school, we had all these friends and we thought everybody was going to be there, and all of a sudden now you don't see nobody no more? That's the same concept. They got you used to that, so that when it actually happens in real life, in the real world, you're not
gonna find it unusual, right? Strange or unusual, or out of pocket, right? Yeah. And that's the thing. That's why now I don't really have no qualms. And I know a lot of times people think that I might be acting funny or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that. I'm not acting funny. I'm just choosing a reality that I want to express from. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't have any. It's not personal. It's personal for me in terms of what it is that I want to experience, but not in a way, to how people may interpret, the response, right? So, or the action of what it is that I'm doing. It's just me being, what it is that I want to see and being a part of a shift. If I'm going to ride the wave, I might as well ride the wave or the momentum in a direction that I want to experience. If the wave is there, I might as well ride it. They want to argue. Judgment brings the argue. No arguing except this. That's Mr. Ovid over here. Mr. Ovid over here on YouTube holding the fort down on YouTube. That's Mr. Ovid over here. And I know that's right. When they want to argue and stuff, like, nobody ain't got. I don't really. If you want to argue, you can argue until your heart's desire. I'm not on that train of judgment anymore. Like, it's like not
crazy. I just did live on why people argue yesterday, and we came up with several different reasons. Some of them are because certain people feel the need to be heard, and when they're not heard, the only way they can be heard is via argument. Some people need control. And I was even with people who are, they're not of the high conscious mind, right? And they are like, well, I argue because, you got to know that I'm right. And so there's so many different reasons for an argument. And it comes down to this. You wanted to. That's it. You wanted to do it. You wanted to exchange. And for whatever reason, your ego felt the need to protect itself, and the need to defend itself, and the need to prove itself. You wanted to. That's all. It's ego.
Yeah, there's many.
We dabble in, dabble out.
Yeah, there's many, and the thing of it is that I'm at a point where I don't, me personally, like I said, I don't say that I don't want to experience. I just move in accordance to what it is that I truly want to experience, and then there's a silent decision of it being known that this is not the experience that I want to experience. So I'm not out here to prove nothing to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not here to prove anything. If anything that I'm here to prove something to is to myself, right?
Yep.
I'm not out here to
And
prove.
just use the information that we come across in the time. Do what you want with it.
Right, and that's just, that's just the nature of where I'm moving my nature and the essence of me, and in my growing and in my process. And when you get to a space, if for people that still want to express from those vibrational vortexes, you have the right to, but you can't get mad when nobody don't want to be in that space of that expression, right? I don't care how you look at it, you know it's not how you see it, it's how I see it, because this is my experience. How you see it is for the value of how you see it for your experience. I'm not judging you. That's just how you see it. It makes it right for you, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's right for me. It's just your interpretation based off of your cultivation, how you're looking at the situation. That's just basically what it is. How you have been cultivated to understand your now moment. That's all that it is. No judgment, right? But I don't want to argue. I done had enough argument. Hell, I still got a little bit of it going on in my house. That's enough. Shit, I ain't trying to,
Right.
be in nothing else that and that's in my personal environment. So I'm not going to get on lives where people are always at each other's throat and stuff like that. No, I don't want to experience that. I don't care how valid it may be or how necessary it may be. And I'm not going to say that it's not necessary, and I'm not going to say that it's not valid. It is necessary and it's valid. That is why it's happening. But is it an experience that I want to experience? I give it a solid no. And move in the essence of the experience that I do want to experience. I say yes by being what it is that I want to see. Now, if that gonna if people gonna get the gist of that in that way? No. If you are in your emotions, and in your feelings, you're not gonna get what I'm saying. You're not gonna hear it, right? And that's okay too, right? But I'm here to say, I have no love lost or no love gained for anybody. I'm neutral. There's a level of neutrality that comes along with me. I don't hate you or dislike you. I move in the essence of the love vibration and the love frequency. I understand that no matter where one expressed from, we're still at some capacity interconnected, right? And so that's just where I'm at with the essence, and I'm growing into my knowing, right? We're still evolving. We're still vibrationally shifting. We're still moving in the essence of how we're understanding what is actually happening right now, right? That's just where I am at for the essence of myself, right? But with all that being said, T, as usual, I'm grateful. Thank you for being here. I'm about to go inside because I got some things that I got to do. I had to come to the house. I didn't realize the time, so I had to come to the house. But if I get back on, then of course, I'll send a live to the group if anybody want to be a part of it. But I'll see y'all later because I got to get inside. All right. Mwah. I love you guys. Have an amazing day. All right. Take care. All right, y'all. Have an amazing day. I'll see y'all on the next go around. Love you guys immensely. Thank you, YouTube. It has been well. It has been wonderful. Thank you for holding the fort down to Mark and Carissa. I don't know who the other person is, but gratitude for you guys' presence, and thank you for being here, holding the fort down in the algorithm of YouTube. I am so forever grateful. You guys have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. And if I decide to come back on here, then of course, I'll put it up. And thank you for holding the fort. I'm very, 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 very much appreciative. Love you guys immensely. Talk to you guys later.